Hi everyone, namaste. कैसे हैं आप सब? Welcome. Today we're going to dive deep into a topic that's just so rich, so vibrant, and honestly, absolutely crucial for your exams. We're talking about the incredible world of Indian English literature.
Now, this explainer is made especially for all of you out there gearing up for those big competitive exams. You know, the DSSB, KVS, NVS, TGT, and PGT. And of course, it's for all my fellow literature lovers too. Think of this as your perfect, super fast revision guide. We're going to hit all the key milestones, the authors you must know, and the big ideas you'll need to ace those tests. Before we really get started, let's just take a moment with this thought. As you're studying, maybe late into the night, just remember, every single book we're about to discuss was a dream that someone was brave enough to write down. Your own dream of clearing that exam? Well, that's just as powerful. So let's use this amazing legacy of dreams to fuel your own. Okay, ready to jump in? Here's the roadmap for our little literary safari, or journey. We'll kick things off at the very beginning, then meet the pioneers who laid the foundation. After that, we'll get into the legendary Trinity, ride the massive wave of post-independence writing, and finally, see how Indian writers took the world by storm. Sticking to this timeline will make everything super easy to remember.
So, let's start at square one. What exactly are we talking about when we say Indian English literature? How did this unique tradition, this powerful new awaz or voice, even come to be?
Well, it's actually pretty simple. It's the huge body of work written by Indians, but in the English language. You might also hear it called Indo-Anglian literature, but here's the most important part. This is all about Indians telling their own stories, their apni kahani, in a language that, over many years, they completely made their own. It's a voice that is proudly Indian, yet speaks to the entire world. Okay, so let's see how it all began to take shape. You know, every great building needs a strong foundation, a really solid bunyad. So now we're going to look at the pioneers, the very first writers who laid the groundwork for everything that came after.
Okay, listen up, because this slide is pure gold for your exams. You've got to remember these dates. In 1794, Saki-Din Mahmud gives us the very first book by an Indian in English. Fast forward to 1864, and we get the first novel from Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. And this is huge. In 1878, Toru Dutt becomes the first Indian woman to write a novel in English. These are the absolute foundational milestones.
And you know, it wasn't just novels. The poetry was incredibly powerful right from the start. You have Henry Derozio, that fiery young voice of change. Michael Madhusudan Dutt, who was a genius at playing with forms, like the sonnet. The amazing Toru Dutt, a true trailblazer. Then there's the great philosopher-poet Sri Aurobindo. And of course, the Nightingale of India herself, Sarojini Naidu, whose poetry just sings with romance and patriotism.
We're now arriving at a section that is absolutely 100% critical. Seriously, if there is one thing you take away from this whole explainer, it has to be this: the Trinity of Indian English fiction. These are the three giants who really put the Indian novel on the map.
And here they are, the big three. R.K. Narayan, the master storyteller who created the unforgettable fictional town of Malgudi. Then we have Mulkraj Anand, a powerful voice for the underdog, whose novels like Untouchable and Coolie expose the harsh realities of life for the poor and marginalized. And finally, Raja Rao, the philosophical genius whose work explored the very soul of India in books like Kanthapura.
Now, all three of them are absolute legends. But let's put a special spotlight on one of the most beloved storytellers India has ever produced, R.K. Narayan. Why? Because to understand his world is to get a deep, beautiful insight into the Indian heart.
And at the center of Narayan's entire universe is Malgudi. Now, Malgudi isn't just a setting, it's a living, breathing character in itself. It's a fictional South Indian town that feels more real to millions of readers than many actual places on the map. It's through Malgudi that Narayan captured the everyday joys and sorrows of small-town India with so much warmth and wit.
And this quote just perfectly captures his genius, doesn't it? It's from the famous British novelist Graham Greene, who was a huge supporter of Narayan. It shows how real Narayan's world felt. He wasn't just writing stories, he created an entire dunya, a world filled with people you felt you knew and could meet around any corner.
And here are just some of the classics that brought Malgudi to life. His debut, Swami and Friends, the beautiful trilogy that includes The Bachelor of Arts and The English Teacher, the award-winning masterpiece, The Guide,
and of course the collection that everyone knows and loves, Malgudi Days. These are the books that took the simple, profound stories of ordinary Indians and shared them with the whole world. Okay, let's just press pause for a second. I know this is a ton of information we're covering, but you are doing great. Keep that focus, keep that energy high. Seriously, trust me on this. All this hard work, all this mehnat, it is absolutely going to pay off. Aapki mehnat zarur rang laegi.
All right, let's get back to it. After 1947, when India became independent, this incredible new energy just surged through its literature. The themes, the styles, even the language itself started to shift, reflecting a brand new nation that was finding its voice on the world stage.
And then came a literary earthquake. In 1981, Salman Rushdie's Midnight's Children won the Booker Prize, and truly, nothing was ever the same again. Rushdie introduced the world to magic realism, mixing the magical and the everyday, and he used this incredible hybrid language, a kind of English that danced with Indian words and rhythms. It was a total game changer.
But this new era wasn't just about one style. To really get the diversity, just look at this comparison. On one side, you have Rushdie's fantastic, acrobatic language, and on the other, you have another giant like Vikram Seth, whose epic novel, A Suitable Boy, is famous for its massive scale, its realism, and its beautiful classic English. This just shows you the amazing range that was now flourishing.
And that brings us right into the contemporary era. After Rushdie's big breakthrough, the floodgates just burst open. A whole new generation of writers started writing, not just for India, but for the entire world. And they began winning the biggest literary awards out there, taking our stories to every single corner of the globe.
Wow, what a lineup. You have Arundhati Roy, whose stunning prose in The God of Small Things just took the world's breath away. Kiran Desai, who so brilliantly explored identity in The Inheritance of Loss. Aravind Adiga, with his razor-sharp and funny critique of modern India in The White Tiger. Not to mention Amitav Ghosh, a master of historical fiction, and Jhumpa Lahiri, whose stories capture the immigrant experience so beautifully. So, there you have it. We've just traveled over 200 years of literary history in a matter of minutes. Now, let's bring it all home and connect this incredible story back to you and your own journey. So what is this great virasa, this incredible legacy that we've just explored? Well, it's a journey that began with one single travel book way back in 1794 and grew into this massive, beautiful tree with countless branches, celebrated all over the world. It is the powerful story of a nation finding its voice and telling its own story. Okay, so let's wrap up with your quick revision points. Here's what you absolutely have to remember. First, this isn't new. It's a rich history stretching back over 2 centuries. Second, the Trinity, Narayan, Anand, and Rao, they are the fathers of the Indian novel. Third, post-independence writers like Rushdie brought in fresh styles and got global attention. And finally, the big idea. It's a literature of immense, incredible diversity.
And we'll end with this thought. You are all working so hard to write your own success stories in your exams and your careers. So my question for you is, which of these amazing authors will you pick up next to get some inspiration for your own journey? All the very, very best to you. Thank